Welcome. It is Thursday afternoon. I'm Joe Carducci, JoJo from Jurors. On all the socials, I'm joined once again by my good friend, Majid Padelin, also known as Brooklyn Dad Defiant. It is Thursday afternoon. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Welcome, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, my friend. How are you right now?
I am, all things considered, I could be better. I could be worse. I'm all right.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag today. We have, we're watching breaking news out of West Bloomfield Township, Michigan, where a gunman rammed his truck into a West Bloomfield Township synagogue this afternoon and then opened fire on the temple. The shooter is dead. We don't know yet. There are some stories about reporting about that there being a tie to ISIS. We don't have that confirmed yet. Thankfully, everybody there is safe aside from there. I believe there was one guard who may have been injured or shot, but not fatally, and the shooter is dead. There were children in attendance in the school and the synagogue going to a school, so thank God. The reports are that all of them are fine, but we were watching this story and our hearts, I can speak for, myself, I hope in Brooklyn as well, our hearts, thoughts, prayers, and genuinely truly mean that go out to everybody impacted and hope that, everybody's okay there on the ground.
Yeah, I'm mostly relieved that nobody was hurt there. I hope there are not uh copycat attacks like this brewing out there. Whenever attacks like this happen, I look at them with a suspicious eye. Like I wonder like who is really behind them, and are they
Mhm.
trying to distract us, turn us away from some other breaking news event. Um I do happen to know that our country, despite all assurances to the contrary, I don't feel safe with Donald Trump and his motley crew of misfits in charge of our security. I know
Nope.
that prior to their invasion of Iran,
Mhm.
they dismissed a whole bunch of spies that specialize in Iran stuff and
Mhm.
Iran terrorism and stuff like that. Like, why on earth would you do that? And then last night, Donald Trump was asked by a reporter if he was leery about acts of retaliation from Iranian sleeper cells
Hmm.
here. And
Mhm.
that son of a bee had the audacity to say that, oh, you don't have to worry about it because we know where most of them are. Like, really?
Mm.
You know where most of them are, but you have been chasing down abuelitas
Yeah.
and little tiny 5-year-old Liam Ramoses with their little rabbit ear
Mhm.
hats. Are you fucking kidding me, bro?
Yeah.
It's insane. Sam, do you have that clip?
Let's play that one.
And if they try to hit us back, have you been briefed about how many Iran sleeper cells there could be inside the U.S. right now?
I have been, and a lot of people came in through Biden with this stupid open border. But we know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
Is it dozens?
They came in through the open border policies of Sleepy Joe Biden, one of the worst president in the history of our country. And we've got our eyes on all of them. But the war itself is being prosecuted at a level that nobody's seen.
No, nobody's seen it. Right. It's $2 billion a day. By the way, just sidebar, the fucking upside down Oompa Loompa on the walk of shame is like glowing in the dark. He's got so much deck stain on his fat fucking face. Sorry. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, aspic. It's like that jelly. It's like the fat that congeals that comes off of like meat. Like you make a meatloaf and you put it in the fridge and the next day you take the meatloaf out and
Oh
you're like,
yeah,
what is
yeah,
all that? That's
yeah.
aspic, right? It's like jello.
Oh,
That's what it looks like. His face is composed
oh,
purely
that's
of this
nasty.
aspic, and then somebody took it and put it in a condom and then stretched it
No,
over his cranium, and
you
it's like
nasty.
anthropomorphic
why,
aspic. Just a thought.
why are you saying these
Well,
nasty
sorry.
things?
Because you look,
Terrible.
yeah, well, sorry.
Now I
Okay.
know it. Now I have a new term to
Yeah.
compare him. Aspic, which is a
Antwerp.
funny.
Yeah.
Is it spelled the way it sounds?
It's
Aspic.
ASPIC. Aspic. Yeah.
He's an
Aspic. I
aspic
love
anyway.
it's what it's I'm 12 years old. But the thing about that,
Why are we still blaming Joe Biden
I mean,
13, 14 months after he stepped out of office? Come on now.
right, because he thinks people are stupid, and because the buck never stops with
They
him.
are.
Ever, never, ever, never, ever. He can never, ever remember. I don't accept any responsibility during COVID. He can never accept that any responsibility ever lays at his feet. But he said a couple things there that are just absolutely insane. I think we have our eyes on most of them. Okay, I think we have our eyes on most of them. Sleeper terrorist cells that they're just watching, like, oh, let's see if they do something. So that's insane. And then he says, most of them. Like, I'm totally fine. I've got my eye on most of them. But the thing, right? The thing about this that is very serious, because yeah, Dana, to your lips to God's ears. Whether or not you think that Brooklyn and I know what we're talking about, which we do, but if you don't think we do, Timothy Snyder is someone you should absolutely believe and trust. And Timothy Snyder has written about the serious side of what Donald Trump is saying here and what he thinks might be brewing, which is that he is leaving us vulnerable to a terrorist attack so that he can grab more authoritarian power so that he can upend elections. Timothy Snyder
Martial
is a
law.
genius, correct?
Yeah.
There's lots of executive powers with the Insurrection Act, and that you can utilize. We haven't seen the full extent, just like all things with Donald Trump. We have not seen the full extent. We can never suffer from a lack of imagination as to the things that he will do to stay in power and to avoid accountability. Timothy Snyder is a genius, and he is not a hyperbolic, histrionic type of person. He's very level-headed. He's very clear-eyed, and he's a student of history. He's a historian. So when he says we should be bracing for this, we should be bracing for this.
I have zero doubt that Donald Trump would use anything at his disposal, and that includes attacking his own citizens in order to achieve his goals. Because I mean,
He's done it before.
Yeah, he's already sicked ICE
Yeah.
on our residents, and he'll do this and justify it as national security or whatever bullshit. But what concerns me is that at a time of great peril, and I would say that we are now in great peril, we cannot trust a word out of the mouth of our commander-in-chief.
No.
Like, we haven't been given a straight answer as to why we're in Iran. We haven't been given a straight answer to whether or not this is war. Some people say it's war. Some people say it's a military action. They diddled and waffled about that strike, that heinous missile strike. And let me just tell you, in case you weren't already aware, there were 2 missiles that hit that school. There was one, and then there was a second one 40 minutes later.
Yes.
40 minutes. You know why it was 40 minutes later?
Yes, I do.
Because they wanted to hit the first responders, the people trying to rescue the poor kids and staff that were just awful.
Well,
God damn it.
What I heard about that second strike, right, is these are Tomahawk missiles, and people in the chat, if you know more about these missiles than I do, please put that in there, because the second one was sent to that location because they saw the most human activity on the ground, right? So that they are designed to take out these, what they would have thought were, the enemy, right? So they thought they were, let's just say they thought, I'm giving them credit for thinking something, who knows, but they thought they were striking a naval base. So the 2 first Tomahawks were headed towards that naval base part, and there was no human activity because they'd already evacuated, but the school, so the first bomb hit and they started to evacuate all the students and staff into a certain area, and then the parents were coming in to get their kids, so they were moving all of frantic movement, and the missile system, the intelligence it was giving was, that's a target, this is where they are, this is where the enemy is, and it hit then, and it didn't just hit. The Tomahawks apparently have this capacity to turn into like a firebomb, like I don't know what the word is up there. I know there's a word for this.
Wait, so did it course correct in mid-flight? Is that what happened?
I think think it can read, or somehow they have intelligence to read the movement and activity in the target itself, to determine where it and when it should strike. This is information I heard yesterday. That fourth missile, like you said, they'd already been struck. School had already been struck once, and then when that fourth missile detected all of this movement on the ground, which was students and teachers and staff trying to evacuate these children to safety, and their parents coming to retrieve them.
My God.
That's when the second strike hit the school, and this firebomb erupted, as is designed into this weaponry. And then some of these children and staff and parents were actually burned alive, not just bombed, tortured. And the fact that that the Republicans are trying to manage the language on how we talk about this, because today we have a clip. In fact, Sam, can you just confirm if you have this Gillibrand clip? Because they're trying to be careful. They're trying to parse their language.
Military action
it's
is
in the
a
chat,
conflict.
Sam. Yeah. It's Gillibrand says targeted a school, and the chairman of that committee, I don't know what committee it was, says, wait, you didn't actually say that they targeted the school. And she said, well, you did target a school, because they did. Whether they intended it to target to be a school or not, they actually did target the school not once, but twice. Two times. And now the commander in chief is saying he doesn't know anything about it. Which, okay, let's say that he doesn't know anything about it. What does that say? And why isn't the press saying you're the commander in chief? You're supposed to be the one who is in charge of our military. How do you not know? How can you? But they're not asking him those follow-ups. But he's saying he doesn't know how if that happened or not.
I saw Lawrence O'Donnell last night, who is always brilliant. I saw him do a bit on President Harry Truman, and how his motto was "the buck stops here."
Yes. Yeah.
And he said that Truman would be appalled if he saw what his if he saw what Trump has done, because Trump never takes responsibility for anything. He didn't take responsibility during COVID. He doesn't take responsibility for anything bad. Anything bad that happens, he wants none of the blame. Anything good that happens, he wants all the credit, even if he had nothing to do with it.
Oh, here's the clip of Gillibrand today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just to clarify, for your benefit, Senator Gillibrand, you did not mean to say that we had targeted
This must be armed services.
That a missile hit a school.
No, but it's the word targeting.
Yes,
that,
of course.
That you did not mean.
How we chose a target that turned out to be a school, albeit next to a appropriate target of a naval base, but the fact that it is chosen as a target, I'd like to know, and I hope that we can have an open hearing on this, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Yeah. No matter how they want to manage these words, no matter what, it was a school that was targeted. Whether it was the AI, what?
How on earth are we putting a school next to a naval base? Did my ears not just? Was that school next to a naval base?
No, it was. But this is the thing: we have hundreds of schools here. Well, we have hundreds of schools here that are near bases.
Here,
hundreds. Yeah. So in Iran, what happened was they had a naval base. They broke up the naval base like maybe a decade ago or more, and part of the naval base was a committed school. I mean, any radar, any satellite imagery would tell you this was a school. They had playgrounds. They had athletic fields. Again, if you're using old, limited intelligence that you got through Claude and other AI platforms, and you're feeding that into your systems, they don't know. They don't know because it hasn't been updated. But also, Pete Hegseth got rid of some of the people who were responsible for dealing with making sure that they were not going to inadvertently hit civilians. He got rid of a whole bunch of those people. So that layer of protection so that this didn't happen was also gone. But that's what MAGA keeps saying is, you don't want your kids to die? Don't put a school near a naval base. Okay, quick Google search, friends. MAGA, you friggin' shitiots. Go look it up. Go see how many schools in this country are near our bases, because I can guarantee you it's more than a handful. And by the way, none of that is a justification. None of it is a justification. You cannot make an argument that 100+ children deserve to die because their country put their school in the proximity of a naval base. You cannot make that argument. And I know you don't give a fuck about kids anymore because you have a goddamn motherfucking pedophile who, by the way, we now know because Jeffrey Epstein's accountant testified under oath yesterday that he was part of and privy to a payment that Jeffrey Epstein made on Donald Trump's behalf to a victim to keep her quiet. I don't give a fuck
Hush
about
money.
kids,
Hush
but
money.
those exactly hush money to a victim of Donald Trump's child rape. If this were any other person on the planet, it would be the biggest scandal there is, and they would resign or would be removed from office immediately. But in this country, it doesn't even get talked about. So we're killing children in Iran, and we're getting away with raping children here. And I know MAGA doesn't care because they're so pro-family, so pro-child, so America values, America first. Bullshit. But you cannot defend the needless slaughter, no matter what justification you provide for those children in Iran. You cannot. And we've made ourselves far less safe to the point about the sleeper cells, Brooklyn. The guy who was testifying, and that must have been Armed Services Committee today, he said these kinds of attacks make us less safe. What they do is they galvanize the people there to want to come after us even more.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I am adding the word shitiots to my lexicon. That's brilliant. I love that.
I'm a fan. It says it all. It really says it all.
Yeah. And yeah, we are absolutely less safe as a result of this war of choice. It is a war of choice because there was no imminent threat from Iran. The same threat that they're talking about of that they were, a week, a month, 2 months away from developing a nuclear device. They've been saying that for the past 40 years. And who's been saying that? Netanyahu, who is probably the second least trustworthy person on the planet next to Donald Trump.
Yep.
So we can't take his word for it, nor should we. And we have no business fighting Israel's war for them. We attacked Iran under the premise that that Iran was about to be attacked in retaliation for Israel's attack on Iran. If that makes absolutely no sense to me at all. You guys, MAGA, you voted for no new wars. You voted for lower taxes. You voted for lower gas. You got none of those things. You voted for accountability on Epstein. All you have done is move your goddamn goalposts further and further and further away from what it was that you said that you were voting for. Really, you weren't voting for any of that shit. You were just voting to keep your cult leader in the spotlight or out of jail, I guess.
Well, there's also the original sin, which is like he lets them be their worst selves, unabashedly, unapologetically, openly, right? He lets them lean into their blame game, right? That ultimately he allows them to they, them, those people, everything in their lives that is subpar, every failure, every lack of great success, every low paycheck, every crappy car, every shitty marriage, every school team's loss, everything is someone else's fault. And it's always this boogeyman other, right? So right now what we're seeing is this Islamophobia is it's like a race between transphobia and Islamophobia because the transphobia is really popular, which is why he's trying to embed that into the SAVE Act, because he's like, oh, well, if Republicans won't push this through and end the filibuster because it'll help me end democracy. Maybe if we say, oh my God, Republicans don't want to stop trans athletes from being in girls' sports, like that's what he's doing because it's the they, them, those people, othering, chumming the base, right? That's I think sometimes that ultimately that original sin of Donald Trump, it's like a black light. I think of him as a black light on that hotel top comforter, right? Like he's always exposed the worst, right? There's nasty. Nobody, don't sleep with that comforter. Take it off. Get the comforter off. It's all gone. But he let them blame the boogeyman, the other person. So right now he's doing it with the Islamophobia and the transphobia. But I think that gives them this permission structure, which is on the wane because they're getting poorer and sicker, and he's breaking all these promises. But that gives them this permission structure to let him get away with anything he wants, right? And he expects that scaffolding will always be there for him. But right now, when he's broken so many promises we could have told them he would break, he was never the no new wars president. He was never going to bring costs down. He doesn't know how to do those things. Now all of a sudden, Joe Rogan's like, wait a minute, hold on. He's like totally betrayed everything we ever thought.
Guy's
Like,
such an asshole.
like it's like Joe. So much outsized influence for someone who just is so close. He's always so
Yeah.
close to getting it. It's like, wait, hold on. He was lying? Yeah. Yeah,
Such
he
a
was lying. But
mess.
MAGA
Yeah.
is like, they're like, okay, this might be a bridge too far now. We have a new war and I can't afford gas or groceries, no matter how many times he says everything's moving in the right direction.
So now the new talking point, the new ridiculous talking point is it is patriotic
Yeah.
to pay more for gas.
I mean,
It's patriotic. Come on now. Come on, who's believing that? He posted a Truth Social saying the United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far. So when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I checked my mail today. There was no oil prices are higher check in the mail for me with my name on. There was
it
none
under
of
the
that.
Soros check? Did you check under
Nah.
the Soros check?
No, I'm still waiting for that. But what? Who is the we in that sentence, right? Because none of us little folks are
No.
getting rich at all from his tariffs,
No.
from this gas, from this oil spike,
Yep.
from any of this stuff. It's the corporations, it's the billionaires, and it's Trump. And whoever his cronies happen to be right now. And I guess his cronies are the people who were putting a few $1 million in his pocket to help him get back into office.
And his children, his spawn, don't forget.
Yeah.
Uday and Kusei.
Oh, they're making money off of this thing.
the
You heard
drones.
about that, right?
Of course. The drones. They all of a sudden, they have a company they invested, hundreds of millions of dollars in that conveniently, does what? It makes drones. At the same time that their sperm donor says we need to increase production here at home on our weapon systems and our missiles and our stockpiles, because we have to be able to fight this war. I haven't explained to any of you, but it is definitely in our national security interests, even though I can't prove that to you. And the target for why we're there keeps moving. And I yesterday said this is the end of the war and the beginning at the same time.
What a coincidence.
Isn't it though? So random.
Wait, and how is the war over and just starting at the same time? How is it a war and a fucking excursion? You know what an excursion is? Like when I took my family to the botanical garden, that is an excursion,
Right. Right. That word excursion, that does something to me when he says that, because he said it like
You late on that, Sam. Come on, man.
Was that a rim shot? Was that a rim shot?
That was a rim shot.
Wow. Not a premature, the opposite of it was definitely late. But this on a serious note, this excursion thing, yeah, I think if an excursion is like the trip you take when you're on a cruise to like the island, so you could go spend the
Yes.
day at the beach, right? He is downplaying yet again. He is downplaying the consequences, the real life consequences of this illegal war of choice, because we now know, we learned yesterday, maybe the day before, that at least 140 troops have been badly injured, that many of them were injured in that Kuwaiti strike that took several of the lives. I think the count now, God may they rest in peace, heroes, is 8.
Yep.
Service members that we've lost in this illegal war of choice that Donald Trump continues to call an excursion. He used the word little. Yesterday, he said a little excursion. If I am the parent, if I'm the mother of a soldier who came home in a flag draped coffin, and I hear the commander in chief refer to the conflict that took my child's life as a little excursion with a smile,
Mm,
I
mm,
cannot
mm,
tell you
mm.
the incandescent rage that I would feel coursing through my veins.
Well
But
put.
that's again just speaks to, we talk about this all the time. He not only doesn't care about any of us, he doesn't care that gas prices are skyrocketing. He doesn't care that prices from everything from groceries to our utilities to our healthcare are skyrocketing. He doesn't care that our country is far less safe and less healthy. He doesn't care about our troops. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. He never
He
has and he never will. And to diminish the sacrifice of those service members, and there are many still in hospitals with terrible injuries. Walter Reed was flooded with wounded. Their lives are irrevocably changed forever. To hear him diminish it by calling it a little excursion it just proves yet again what little regard that sociopathic, megalomaniac, narcissistic madman has for our men and women in uniform.
Well, he was wearing a big old baseball cap at the dignified transfer. This was that this weekend?
It was. It
Boy,
was. It
there's
was
so much
after we
stuff that
talked. It was on
happens.
Saturday.
So much stuff that happens. Like it just like it's flooded. And then the very next day, he was playing golf. Wait, was it the next
No,
day or the
yes, you're
same
right.
day?
In the same
Yeah.
hat.
And like it brings to my memory the time when George W. Bush, not my favorite president,
No.
close to my least favorite president prior to Trump. Um, he made an announcement, or wait, did he even make an announcement? He just said he wasn't going to play golf because
Right.
he couldn't bring himself, he couldn't imagine the families of
No.
people overseas fighting this war, seeing him casually just playing golf as if nothing mattered. So like, that was a bridge too far for George W. Bush.
Yeah.
And so with Trump, nothing even matters anymore. Like
No.
the things that were previously unheard of and indecent and inappropriate are now, well, it's Trump. Anything he says, it's just like people just wash it off. But when he's been confronted several times about
Mhm.
this strike on the school, and it infuriates me that he was allowed to get away with the egregious lie, saying that, oh, that was Iran. He said Iran
tomahawk.
had tomahawks. There's a very small list of
Yes.
countries who are able to use tomahawks, and Iran ain't on that list.
Oh no.
And so either he is lying blatantly to the
Mhm.
American people, or he just doesn't know. And neither of those is acceptable. He is the commander in chief. He's got to know who the
Right.
hell has access to our most lethal weapons.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's horrific, and that should absolutely be added to the list of things that we have to chase down as
Mm.
far as holding this regime accountable, and that includes launching this illegal war.
Right. And he has been able to, as so often is the case, sort of slither his way out of answering these questions, whether it's Carolyn Levitt ushering him out after whispering, like, you don't know, to the answer to that question, because our own military has now concluded that it was us, along with all of these other media outlets. But he's like, I don't know. But I will say that in the last couple of days, we've seen the press pool finding a spine adjacency, right?
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
We need more of that. We need more of that. We had the reporter who asked him, I believe it was on Sunday. He said, everyone in your administration, including your own Secretary of Defense, is saying that they cannot rule out that the United States was responsible for this bombing. You're the only one. You're the only one saying that it was not us, that it
Oh,
was
that dude.
Iran.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was great because he said, I don't know. And it was basically like, wow, that just again shows incompetence. You're just saying that you don't know, which is also bullshit because I mean, if we know, but then yesterday we had a reporter ask
Liz,
him about the Arizona election information being
she was
seized.
brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Sam, let's play
Loved her.
that.
Yeah.
Rwanda and with Congo, and we hope they're going to get along.
Sir, in Arizona, why did the FBI seize election records in that state?
Well, they probably thought the election was rigged, right?
It wasn't rigged, though.
Oh, really? How do you know?
Your own Attorney General in 2020 said that there was not measurable voter fraud to change the outcome of the election.
I think it was rigged.
There's no, sir. Where's the evidence of
It
that?
wasn't rigged. You're a rotten reporter.
Where's the evidence of that?
There it is.
Did you see how he said, how do you know? How do
Like
you
a
know?
12-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know what? If you think that, you're a rotten reporter. And
Yeah.
then he walks off. But she was so good. I
Mhm.
believe I think she's from PBS. Am I right?
I don't know. I don't know. If anyone knows who that is, please put it in the chat because I actually don't know.
It's Liz something. And
Okay.
kudos to her.
Yeah.
How she pushed back
Yeah.
was brilliant. It's not that hard, guys.
No.
Just like reach down a little bit, grab some intestinal fortitude,
Yeah.
and push back and say, no, it wasn't. It wasn't rigged. How do you know? Be prepared for that. Come on,
Yeah.
guys. It's not
Right.
that hard. You know what he's going to lie about before you set up in your place in that news gaggle or whatever it is they call it. Before you even pull out your recorder, you know exactly what lies he is going to tell.
Yeah.
Be ready
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, and he does always insult he didn't insult that male reporter who asked him that question about everybody in your administration. is saying another
Interesting.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it? He did insult Ducey Light recently when he said, "I'm disappointed in you" or something, because Ducey Light asked him, why are you having this meeting on trans athletes in sports when we just launched an illegal war with Iran? But he did insult him a little bit. Liz Landers, thank you, Sam. Liz Landers, PBS. Yeah, that's the way, Liz. Liz, be a Liz in a world,
Yeah.
and be a Caitlin Collins, and be the gentleman reporter from the other day, and then like we always say, like Mehdi Hassan always says, like you always say, if he doesn't answer it, then the next reporter asks the same question. Watch how he loses his mind, because that's what he has managed to evade and escape for all this time, and they all have been trading access and like proximity for spine. And I think they're realizing the utility of that is futile because it doesn't get them anywhere. It doesn't get them anything. And
Yeah.
we are going to celebrate them. Like Jeff Tiedrick always says, the first person who says, what the ever loving fuck is wrong with you? Like they should win a Pulitzer and a Nobel and then every prize there is. Like they should get a FIFA Peace Prize. They should get them all. Like, give them an Emmy, give them an Oscar.
Yeah, it's on time with that one.
Gold star, because the preschool, give him everything, because that someone needs to say it, and stop letting him get away with this slippery sliding out of accountability and out of answering. And that's thank you, Liz Landers. We need more of every day, and not just him. I want Carolyn Levitt, because Neil Stenage, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, reporter, the Irish reporter, did that in the press briefing room not too long ago, maybe about a month ago, where she asked him a follow-up question because she wanted to call him out, and he gave it right back to her. Do it to all of them. I want to know. I want Marco Rubio to have to answer questions about his shoes.
Yeah, so a phrase that people like to go back, or a word that people like to overuse these days, is unprecedented. These are unprecedented times, and these unprecedented times, I believe, call for unprecedented measures. I think the press, you guys need to stop separating yourselves from this. I understand in normal times you have journalistic integrity where you're not part of the story and you're passively reporting on what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. But you guys have to realize you live here too, right? And your ability to have a free press, your ability to freely report on the news is currently in jeopardy right now.
Yeah.
If you continue to allow him to just keep pushing keep pushing the norms further and further away,
Mhm.
and allowing him to consolidate more power, more control, and eventually take over, trample our constitution and take over our democracy, your jobs are at stake. You're just going to become stenographers. You're
Right.
just going to be just taking notes. You're
Right.
not going to be reporting the truth. You're going
No.
to be reporting what Donald Trump wants you to say the truth is.
Yeah. And, a free press is essential, which is one of the reasons he attacks them so frequently, which is one of the reasons he attacks Colbert and ABC and, these other networks, et cetera. The free press is elemental to democracy. He
Yeah.
knows that. I mean, we've seen state TV in North Korea and China and other places, and he would very much love for that to be the case here. But like you said, it doesn't serve their ends. They're only creating their own extinction. Really, they're just hastening their own extinction. To what end? So hold them accountable, hold all of them accountable. Don't let them slither out. I want somebody to ask him every time he says we're the hottest country on earth, everything's moving in the right direction. People are great big strong men are coming up to me with tears in their eyes and saying, sir, how did you make eggs so inexpensive? Sir, how did you save us all this money? Sir, how are we
Yeah.
the hottest country in the world? How are tariffs making everything so much less expensive? Sir, none of that's true. I want a reporter to come armed with the facts. Sir, here are the facts. Here is the price of this. Here is the price of that. Here is the change between the beginning of your administration and this point. Sir, how are you saying the opposite? And how are you still blaming Joe Biden a year and a half into your administration? I want them to do that. I want him to have to answer to that. And by the way, last thing I will say about this, they have also let him slide on Epstein. The Epstein searches have dropped precipitously since this illegal war began because of all the things in this Russian nesting doll of distractions and corruption that is this illegal war. That was one of the points, I'm sure. We all know that, right? To distract us from the not going away Epstein files. So people stopped, Google is searching it. Don't stop talking about Epstein. But the reporters who have access to this person and all of his cabinet members and the propaganda secretary, they need to ask that question every single day. Sir, is it true that Jeffrey Epstein paid hush money to a victim of your sexual assault? Sir, is
Yeah.
it true
Yeah.
that your Department of Justice did not release these files related to you and allegations 4 times interviewed by the FBI related to you, sexually abusing a 13-year-old? Where are those questions? Why aren't they asking those questions? We need to demand that they ask those questions, and he needs to be put in the hot seat. Even if he doesn't answer them, ask them anyway.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, 1,000,000,000% that we should absolutely continue to dog him about those Epstein files and those Epstein accusations. But
Mhm.
I do want to take just a second to address a comment by, I'm assuming is a Trump troll here, Looper, saying, how about IDs to vote, guys? I do want to bring that up, actually,
Mhm.
because Donald Trump is threatening to not
Vote.
vote any bills
Right.
if he doesn't get his Save America Act passed.
Right.
Let's talk about IDs to vote. Okay, I personally have driver's license, I have birth certificate, social security card, passport. I got it all. I got all the points I need, right? But I am just one person, right?
Mhm.
When the polls go out and they ask people, how do you feel about voter ID? The average American does not think that voter ID means you need a passport. How
No.
do I know? Because most people don't have a passport,
Nope.
unless you travel
I don't have one.
internationally a lot, a
Mhm.
lot of people don't have passports, and passports are not free, right?
Nope.
Passports cost money,
Yep.
anywhere between $165 to $200, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not breaking the bank for a lot of people, but for some people, that's a bill they got to pay.
It's a poll tax.
Food, and that is a tax on what is our right as
Right.
American citizens. Now,
Mhm.
you want to uh You want to displace, you want to disenfranchise millions of voters for some kind of boogeyman of voter fraud that amounts to 0.0003% of all votes cast since 2003, according to the Heritage Foundation, is a conservative organization. They're the ones who said there's almost no voter fraud. Out of billions of votes cast, you found 77 instances of fraud over 2 decades. And for that, you want to upend the entire apple cart. That is ridiculous. All the women who don't have their names on their current ID or their birth certificates, now they've got to go through some rigmarole. That's some fucking bullshit. You know what? It's already illegal for undocumented immigrants to vote. It's already illegal. So what the hell are you doing? If you want to stay in power, if you want people to vote for you, stop cheating. Stop making it harder for Americans to vote. Come up with some ideas that people want to vote for.
Right. They have no intentions of doing that. Again, amen to everything you just said. They have no intentions of doing any of that because they don't want to govern. They just want to rule. And anyone who is trying to suppress the vote, anyone who wants fewer Americans to participate in this little experiment of ours they are telling you that they don't plan on earning your vote, that they don't plan on doing anything that benefits you, that they are not motivated by what your needs are. They are telling you that they don't want you to hold them accountable, that they want to get away with what they are doing without you having any say in it. And that's not a partisan issue. That is not a left versus right issue. That is whether or not you want to wake up in a free society tomorrow, or if you want to wake up in North Korea. That's the bottom line. And they are telling us repeatedly, Donald Trump's obsession with this SAVE Act, with Thune and others getting rid of the filibuster, good luck with that, is because we've talked about this before. It is existential to him. He knows. I had the chair of the DCCC today on the podcast. That episode's going to come out tonight or tomorrow. I'm not really sure. But we were talking about, everybody in this chat knows what has been happening in these special elections. There's a 17-point swing up until now in favor of Democrats in a lot of unlikely places, friends. And a lot of very red places. Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Iowa. I mean, look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat and that election and the numbers that came out of there and the excitement on the ground to put a Democrat in that Marjorie
Democrat
Taylor
was the top vote getter in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. That's insane.
That's correct. And so they know that the writing is on the wall, but they're not going to change course when it comes to any of their policies, as if they have any policies to begin with. I mean, this is just ridiculous to even suggest that they do. They're really just a rubber stamp for Donald Trump's regime and his authoritarian fever dreams. Yeah.
I forgot one thing. The mail-in voting, right? You want to do away with mail-in voting, which, by the way, Donald Trump uses mail-in voting.
Yes,
that's ridiculous. There's so many people who use mail-in voting. You have the elderly, you have the disabled, you have people who live in rural districts who, they need that stuff because it's not easy to travel when you're a rural voter. You've got to go 50 plus miles sometimes to cast a vote. That's ridiculous.
It's Reginald or Regina. I think it's Regina, maybe. Regina is right. Trump is the only person that's trying to steal the 2026 midterms. That is exactly right. And it's the truth. Every accusation is a confession every single time. But the mail-in voting thing is really funny because he has a boo-boo. He has a sad. Because remember what happened in 2020 was he was like, I'm winning, I've won. It's over. I'm the president of the United States again. And then it was like all the mail-in ballots started coming in. And then he's like, well, wait a minute. No, this is rigged against me. Then I have all these fake ballots coming in, which I can't prove, and I never have proven, and I'll never be able to prove. But they gave him such a deep grievance and wound that he would love very much to do away with mail-in ballots. But he also knows, everybody knows, statistically, Democrats lean in on mail-in ballots more than Republicans. Republicans are usually day of voters, which, again, anecdotally, if we're looking at the trends right now in the special elections that we've seen, that Republicans are not incentivized to show up. And if they are showing up, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat, by the way. The Democrat, Sean Harris, we got to get him on the show. 43,241 votes, 37% of the vote went to a Democrat. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, those chef's kiss, if we could take that House seat, would just be, I mean, honestly, first of all,
Yeah, that would
that
be
she's
great.
become like an ally, which is not a word I want to use because she is
No.
not one, but that she is a voice of reason in that party. But boy, would I like to get that seat. But it just shows you, right, what is happening right now. And Donald Trump and Republicans know.
Sam, can you throw up Mark Lamont's note there? How was the election rigged in 2020 while he was president? I'd like to know that because, he keeps saying it was rigged. Like he was in control of all the levers of government, right? So explain that is an excellent question. And we know it was Reginald, not Regina.
Thank you, Reginald.
We got you, buddy.
Sorry about that. You never know, like, because there was right there, Reginald Johnson 8092. Thank you, Reginald. But yeah, I'd love to know too. But the thing is, he's used to things not making sense, right? He has gotten very far along without ever having to actually have, coherent, reasonable, rational, logical, sensible, smart things that make sense. And 2 + 2 has never had to equal 4. He is used to being able to lean on the they, them, those people, the dogs and the cats, the othering, the fear mongering, the boogeyman stuff. That's always been his escape hatch, right? Like the thing is, I think a lot of people had amnesia because they were looking at his last term and blamed a lot of what happened on COVID. And a lot of it was COVID was responsible for a lot of it. But every metric was moving in the same direction it's moving now when it comes to the economy, when it comes to jobs. By the way, he lost 192,000 jobs, or was it 92,000?
Oh, yeah.
Last month. Right. So every metric was moving in the wrong direction. And then COVID happened and he blamed everything that went wrong on COVID. But I think a lot of people forgot that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. This is a guy who bankrupted casinos. He bankrupted casinos. Friends.
6 bankruptcies, right?
Yeah.
6?
Yeah. He's not some, savant. He's not some real estate genius. He's not a business, expert. He
slaps his name on things. His name on things. That's what he does. That's it.
And he cheats and he steals. And so much of his empire, first of all, he inherited this large chunk he lies about and says he's self-made. And then he cheated and stole and didn't pay taxes. And the corruption, right? He lined his pockets with extra profit. All of that is also how he made himself rich. But he is making himself richer than he's ever been in his entire existence by living in our house. He is the hand over fist, just shoveling money into his own coffers right now.
Oh,
yeah, it's grotesque, but like a lot of people, I think, could be lulled and tricked by the hate, by the xenophobia, by the racism, by the fear mongering, by the sexism, by all that low hanging fruit chum, if they were doing okay financially.
Have you heard him?
They are not.
Have you heard him say, you notice how the Democrats aren't talking about affordability anymore? They're not talking about it. Well, you did just launch a war, okay?
Yeah.
And you launched the war basically like nanoseconds after the latest Epstein dump came out. Did you notice that? Because as soon as I heard that we were in Iran, I was like, look at that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
The son of a bitch did that to cover up, the incoming Epstein stuff. And by the way, I didn't want to get off the election thing just yet, because if you were to count up how many times he says Joe Biden's name in every goddamn speech he makes, whether it's publicly, whether it's like from the White House, or he goes to some kind of group, some association where it's a rally, Biden's name comes out of his mouth at least 24 times in every speech he makes. That 2020 election really hurt him to his soul. His soul. He couldn't get over the fact that Joe Biden destroyed him. Just like He didn't just beat him. He
No.
took him to the woodshed. 7 million votes he lost by. That
Yep.
was a massive loss for his ego. And the only other person that has hurt his ego more is President Obama.
Yeah.
And only reason I'm bringing this up is because yesterday Trump was in was it Ohio or
Yes.
Kentucky?
Oh, he was
It
in
was Ohio?
Kentucky. He was in both, but he was in Ohio for to go to a factory or something, and he was in Kentucky to try and flip Thomas Massey's seat. So
Oh, okay. That was the rally with stupid
sweaty
Jake
tits.
Jake
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Yeah.
Yeah.
So during that rally, for some reason now he's stuck on President Obama and his ability to descend steps without taking a big fall. Sam, I believe you have the video. You have that video at accessible. If you wouldn't mind throwing that up, it would be great. This is funny.
Walking up Air Force One. Now, I know the problem with this, it can happen. You could slip. I could slip. I came downstairs today that was soaking wet. You know, it's a little rainy today. And I have steel stairs. And I'm saying, ay. But I do it very slowly. I grab that thing because nobody cares if you set a speed record. The only thing I admired about Barack Hussein Obama, which was nothing actually, but the only thing. Is the way he bobbed down. Remember, he'd bob. Hey, you talk about unpresidential. He's bobbing. And I couldn't believe that he made it without at least a noticeable major fall. But Biden was the opposite. Biden couldn't even walk up the stairs. He fell through.
So cool.
I mean, bop, 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 bop. Right. Yeah. I mean, again, he's so desperate. He is so desperate to somehow one up the coolest president we've ever had. He is
Never gonna happen.
No, it's never going to happen. That's why they keep trying to approximate the Situation Room photo when we took out bin Laden. And it's like, oh my God, it's such a joke. Like, he's sitting there looking like his mother, literally looking like his mother reanimated and like you propped up like some kind of weird ass animatronic at like the Disney Hall of Presidents. He's sitting there looking like hollowed out, like he's a skull, like he's a Skeksis. Like he's literally like decomposing in front of us into a Skeksis. And if you guys don't know what a Skeksis is, the dark crystal, look it up. That's what he looks like to me, a cross between his mother. He's so desperate. He will never ever be cool. He will never be Obama. He will never have a Situation Room photo like Obama had. He'll never bop up any or thing down anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joke and it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. But it's funny that you chose to do that in reference to last night because Jake Paul showed up in a tan suit. And apparently he never met
With the sweaty pits. That was
disgusting.
Yeah.
Look, I'm Lebanese. We sweat. We sweat with the best of them. You gotta know. Is this the right time? Is this right? I'm a pity person. Is this the right time for me to be wearing a light color? He's probably nervous. He's hopped up on God knows what, and he's wearing a tan suit. And I swear to God, it looked like Albert Brooks in broadcast news. It's like, get a towel and a squeegee.
That's a good reference. I remember
Seriously.
that.
But no, that was a great clip, and kudos to you for putting that together.
Thank you.
And yes, Reginald, again, Trump didn't get that Nobel Peace Prize. He will forever. That's why he's got the FIFA Peace Prize. They had to give him a fake one.
I don't understand if like he tries to play it off like he's like an alpha male or something, and it is the least alpha thing you can do is to accept someone else's Nobel Prize that they earned just to assuage your hurt feelings. Like how does MAGA not see that? That's like a bitch move.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to call it, right?
No. Well, yeah, it is a bitch move. It's a total bitch move, but that defines him. And also, like, I know shade on makeup. I wear my fair share of makeup, God knows, but like their alpha male he wears more cake makeup than the Kardashians combined. I mean, he can't go
Yeah.
anywhere. His hands are spackled now. His freaking neck vampire bite is like
Yeah.
grayscale spackled now. The guy's like wearing more makeup than Ulta.
I don't
All of
understand
Ulta.
it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that hard. Like, I don't use makeup. Thank God I don't need it. But
Yeah.
I can imagine if I had upwards of $1 billion, I could hire somebody who
Mhm.
was halfway decent and competent enough to like blend. You ever see like when he's standing to the
Oh
side,
yeah.
like you can see the line where, where the makeup stops and
Yeah.
his pale skin is
That's the
showing.
real
Like,
border
can't
crisis
you
right
get
there.
somebody to do that?
He's so
Like,
delusional that he thinks that looks good. I just want to add, it's not anywhere in the conversation we had leading up to this, but he was giving a speech about an hour ago on Trump on Women's Month. And I just have to read this because it is so hilarious. Like
him.
sometimes I think this is Veep and Idiocracy had a baby, and then
Oy.
they let like Larry the Cable Guy raise it in Tommy Tuberville's backyard shed. Okay, this is the level of dumb. Trump's Women's Month speech. I didn't read. I can't prepare. He doesn't finish the word prepare. If I prepare my speeches, I won't time to get things done. You ever hear that? I cannot prepare. So I didn't know who the hell I was speaking to, but I walked in and I saw this beautiful woman with the blonde hair.
Oh my goodness.
That's his message. That's his message for
But
Women's
you can't say
Month.
beautiful. You can't say beautiful woman anymore. You get
Right.
in trouble. You notice he
Yeah.
says that like in almost every other speech. You can't say beautiful anymore.
Right. Right. I mean, the greatest hits. Yeah. So like, but since we're laughing, can we just talk about this cult? I often say that, it's the dumbest of times, it's the darkest of times, right? Like it really is the intersection of some of the stupidest shit on the planet. Some of the most outlandish, ridiculous. Are you sure that's real and that's not like SNL kind of parody, right?
Wait,
What
are we going to talk about Pete Hegseth or Marco Rubio? Because both of them are equally like.
well let-
Although Marco is probably the funniest, I think, but Pete Hegseth and his banning photographers
Yeah, let's talk
because
about that first, and then we'll do Rubio.
for showing taking unflattering photos of him, and so the internet was like, "You want unflattering? Here."
Another alpha male. Another alpha male. So it's
He
such a
wears a ton of
snowflake.
makeup too, doesn't he?
Oh God, are you kidding? He has a budget. He has a budget for hair and makeup. He put in a professional studio
Yes.
in his office for hair and makeup. Okay, like I mean, like it's just beyond parody.
It's hilarious.
And so the internet responded in epic fashion, as the internet does. It was one of those OG Twitter days where it's like, oh, yeah, that's right. This is the sweet spot where everybody's like, oh, he doesn't want us to put up unflattering pictures of him. Whatever
Yeah.
you do, don't share these hundreds of unflattering pictures of him, especially the ones where he's shit-faced because the
Yeah.
Secretary of Day drunkenness with bottle of booze for breakfast. Yeah. First of all, can we just sidebar on something, guys? What color is his skin now? Because I have been noticing that he is becoming increasingly gray. Like his
Oh,
tone,
I was
like it
going to say
looks
gray. Yeah.
right gray. Like it looks like all of the blood is leaving his body, and I don't know if that's an alcoholism thing or if it's a soul leaving his body thing or if it's stress or if I don't know. He's turning gray. All of him is turning
all
gray.
of the above. All of
Yeah.
the above, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about because I mean it's been a week, but we haven't talked about the hundreds of millions of dollars of shellfish and
Oh my
fruit
God.
basket
Did we not
stands.
talk about that yet?
No, we have not talked about that because that just broke like 2 days ago.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. I mean,
90 was it 93 billion?
yes, I believe so, and $6.9 million on lobster tail.
Jeez.
$2 million on king crab, Alaskan king crab. And I don't know the destinations of these things. A piano, a grand piano, those super expensive recliners like from Mad Men, like
Mhm.
all of that, like violins. But this fruit basket stand thing, first of all of this is
Right.
money laundering. $12,000 something for fruit basket stands. Like I don't even know what a fruit basket stand is. I don't even know why we're doing this. Here we go.
It's a
High end food
stand
and
it's a
dining.
stand for fruit baskets. That is essential to our nation's defense,
Yeah,
Joe.
right.
What's
What do I
wrong with
know?
you?
My fruit lives in a bowl next to my coffee maker, and it's usually with an avocado. I'm like, I really need to use that avocado. Ribeye
Yeah.
steaks, $15 million. Lobster tail, almost 7 million. King crab, 2 million. Salmon, 1 million. Donuts, 139,224.
Well,
And
that hang
look,
on. Donuts, that is an essential, I think.
okay, I'm not going to argue with that. Who doesn't like a good donut? A handmade Japanese
That's a lot of
fruit.
donuts, though.
That sounds like a
Jesus.
sex thing. But the thing is, even if let's just
Handmade
hypothesize here.
Japanese flute. What do you
Even
need a handmade Japanese flute for?
I think
Handmade.
that sounds. I don't know why that sounds vaguely sexual, but
Are they using that to start
Sarah,
off to start the war off?
yeah. Well, that's how they serenade you when you're sitting on your luxury recliner listening to someone play, Chopin on their Steinway and Sons piano while they're feasting on king crab, salmon, ribeye steak, and donuts. Yeah. So, for the Department of Defense musicians. Okay. Again, let me just say this. I know people say, "Oh, they use it or lose it. Every Defense Department has to go through this." I am sure I am sure. I
The
am damn
grand
sure.
piano.
There
Fucking grand
are
piano.
other uses in the Department of Defense for this kind of budget. And I just want to point out, since we talked about Trump and jobs and Trump's disdain for the military, that this motherfucker, this 5-time draft dodging motherfucker, this desecrating the Arlington National Cemetery piece of shit, has fired more veterans than any president in our country's history. That he has gutted the VA. He has made it very difficult for them to get housing.
Cancer research.
Right, pediatric cancer research, yes, 100%. But within the Department of Defense, within their budget, they have
Mhm.
barracks that have mold, right? They have
Ooh, good one. Yeah.
facilities that need help. They have a VA that they have decimated, that
Mhm.
they could be using these funds. They could appropriate these funds for those things that would actually benefit the members of our military. And I'm sorry, but that same month of September, when they were dining on king crab legs and lobster astride a grand piano, they were basically taking the country to the Supreme Court to make sure that starving children here could not eat, could not get food nutrition assistance. They because we can't afford it. This to me is egregious, but it's also, I mean, that they thought that they would just do this and nobody would notice. Is just such par for the course. But it would be funny, right? It's beyond parody, but
Mhm.
it's not funny because we're losing service members in an illegal war at the same time that we're finding out about them spending billions of dollars on shellfish and pianos. But yeah,
I'd like to know how many of the rank and file service members um, got any of those king crab legs
right.
or lobster and stuff. I don't think any of them got it. I think the top brass, the
Yeah.
generals and colonels and
Yep.
people, the officers, they got a shitload probably. And I'm not taking anything away from them, but
Yeah.
who are the guys who are putting their lives on the line,
Right.
for America,
Right.
while you guys feast it up.
Mm-hmm. And who's making money off of those sales, right? That's the other thing. We always know with this administration, what we
You
saw with
said you said money laundering. Do you
yeah.
mean like I just want to make sure I understand. Do you mean like they're saying piano, for instance, is worth 98,000,
Yes.
but really it's only 10,000, and the
Yes.
other 88,000 we're putting in somebody's pocket or
Yeah.
using for this and that and the other?
I'm having a hard time believing that any specific purveyor of king crab was able to procure and provide like 28,000 pounds of Alaskan king crab in the span of a month. Like, I'm having a really hard time trying to imagine that much crab. Let's say crab is like $80 to $100 a
It's a
pound.
lot of
Very
crab.
expensive. It's a lot
Yeah.
of crab. And the reason crab meat is so expensive is because it's notoriously difficult. We've all seen The Greatest or The Deadliest Catch, right? It's notoriously difficult. But also it's not an infinite resource, right? Like, these things they're just, yes, there's a lot of them,
Mhm.
but they're hard to get and they're expensive. So at $80 to $100 a pop per pound, and you're talking about $2 million in crab meat, you could guess what they're doing the math. It's several tens of thousands of pounds of crab meat. So where are they getting it from? And what is the price? What are they being charged? Because if they only got a couple hundred pounds of crab and they were charged $2 million, that math doesn't math. And the Pentagon
Ah.
is historically, notoriously, infamously rife with this kind of toilet seat pricing abuse.
$1,000 hammers.
Right?
$1,000
Exactly.
hammers, $10,000 toilet seats. Yes.
And the thing is, right, and the thing is, they're the least transparent administration in the history of this country, and that's saying a lot. So we only have their word. We can only say, oh, it's like somebody saying, oh yeah, well, they spent $50,000 on consultants, but it was 2 consultants who made $25,000 a pop for responding to an email. Kristi Noem's $220 million 3-minute ad campaign didn't it cost more than
That's insane. That
Cost
costs
more
more.
than,
That
like-
costs more than like some Marvel blockbuster movies.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. More than a Harry Potter movie.
Makes
Okay.
no sense at all.
Right, for an
No sense.
11-day-old company with no brick and mortar location and like
No, not even a website. They didn't
Correct.
even have a website, but you're giving them $220 million.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's it. Amexa, they're crooks. They're all crooks. And we can't trust anything coming out of this administration. But again, the stupid burns, because it's not just that they are crooks. It's not just that they are immoral and depraved. It's not just that they're diminishing the sacrifice of our there you go, some of the movies. Kristi Noem, 220 3-minute ad, a 3-minute ad. Iron Man, The Matrix, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Top Gun Maverick, Barbie, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, The Hunger Games, and Oppenheimer. Kristi Noem's 3-minute propaganda ad cost more than all of those movies. Make that make sense? It doesn't, because
No.
again, here we see the corruption. But again, like, all of this is it's insane, but it's ludicrous. But you have to laugh at the madness of it all, because on top of all of this, you see how sad these little lickspittle sycophants are. These taint licking toadies, as I call them, Marco Rubio and the rest of that cabinet, and just beyond the pale it is. They're literally walking around in shoes that don't fit.
Joe, this story hit my it was like Christmas for my funny bone. It hit so hard because so Donald Trump apparently had gifted his cabinet members Florsheim shoes, which I was surprised to even learn that Florsheim was still around. Like, that was around when I was a kid. But
it's not Johnson and Murphy.
Yeah, and it's not even that expensive. It's $145. Like, that's expensive for shoes, but for guys at that level, you'd think that's kind of cheap.
Yeah.
But Marco Rubio got shoes that were too big for him, at least 2 sizes too big. You can look on the right there. You can see the distance from his heel to the back of the shoe. That is hilariously too big, right?
Yeah.
He did not have the cojones to say, Mr. Trump, sir, the shoes you got me, I appreciate so greatly, but they're too big. I'm gonna trade them in for something that fits. No, he's a grown ass man and couldn't say that. So he put himself in discomfort so that he would not have to discomfort Trump by just saying, you got my size wrong. So all the memes that came out, this one took me out. You got Marco Rubio in the giant shoe.
Hilarious. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Hilarious. I mean, again, it's idiocracy, right? This is
this is great. Yeah.
Every one of those couch memes, by the way, just inject them straight into my veins.
Give me life. Yeah.
They are so hilarious. And that was from the Zelensky meeting. But like, again, we know we started the show on a very somber note about the synagogue in Michigan, and we know that so much of this is not funny. We know that so much of what we are grappling with as a nation and as a world and as a people is not the stuff of comedy. But every now and then, you do have to laugh at them. You do have to mock them
Oh
because
yeah,
number one, it keeps you sane and or sane adjacent. But number two, authoritarians hate when you laugh at them.
ridicule. They
They
no like it.
comedy to their at their expense is their mortal enemy. When you do
Kryptonite.
that, right, you take their power away because they don't get to set the terms for how they project their power and their control. And when you
Yeah,
bring them down to a level of mockery and disdain and ridicule, it is so degrading to their egos that they can't handle it. So it's incumbent upon us. Yeah, call him keg breath. Like call her KK Caroline Levitt. Like I I I
yeah.
I mean, by the way, also saw this thing about Rubio. I don't know if you saw this, but I don't know if folks have ever noticed his ears, but he has a thing where he went
They're
up
way
to
too big.
it's like it's weird. It's like a
They're
Mr. Potato
circus.
Head.
They're circus big.
Their circus big.
And
And those
I'm not. I'm saying like my
yeah,
ears aren't all that small, but
yeah,
he makes my ears look tiny by comparison.
he's either small, extra small in the head, or extra big in the ears, or it's a combination. But he told a photographer recently that she had to shoot him in a certain way that because he didn't. They're also vain. Who mocks them? Look, I'm sorry if anybody out there has big ears. It's not me making
I
fun of
have
you.
big ears, but they're not. They're not that. They're not
Leprechaun
Dumbo
ears.
size.
No,
Goodness
seriously, yeah,
gracious.
you could strap a saddle on him and fly away. But again, those shoes, it's ridiculous. It is so pathetic. It is so sad. It is so filleting that they
Yeah,
can't just say those shoes don't fit. And if you've ever walked around in shoes that are too big, you know those are big ears. Those are
yeah.
big elven ears. Like,
But yeah, his inability as an adult, as a grown ass man, to not speak up, to speak up, his inability to speak up for himself is so fucking sad because I remember 2016
me
he
too.
was he was going chest to chest with Trump, over Trump's little hands,
Yeah.
and boy, how far have you fallen, Lil Marco? He's earned that nickname, Lil Marco,
Except for his
right?
ears. His feet have, and probably what's in between his legs, but his ears sure as shit have not. But between him and Lindsey Graham, and Ted Cruz, like the three people in that party who were
Forgot
most
about Lindsey
staunchly
Graham.
against
Oh my
him,
God.
right? Lindsey Graham's lost, well, whatever was left.
That dude is insane. He's
Yeah,
insane. He's like filled with bloodlust for war right now.
yeah,
He's practically frothing at the mouth to get into Cuba,
yeah.
right? And he's talking about running back to where is it? South Carolina.
Yes,
He's
it
from
is. Yep.
running back to South Carolina to ask uh, uh, them to send their kids to Iran. Like, are you shitting me, bro?
Yeah.
John McCain would be so disappointed.
Oh my God.
I think he would slap the shit out of him. I think
Oh,
personally, he
yeah.
would, if he could reach his face, he would slap the shit out of him.
I don't think Pilot Fish Lindsey Graham would have been this way if John McCain were still here, because John McCain and his adjacency to John McCain bolstered whatever sense of like his own spine that he had, really, because John McCain inspired his better angels, right? Like John McCain wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but John McCain
Right.
did the right thing when the right thing mattered, and he also put democracy first, and he even stood up for Barack Obama at a debate when somebody said something disparaging about him. So I believe John McCain ultimately was a patriot, and Lindsey Graham was better off as his shadow than he is floating around there in Never Never Land, trying to sup at Donald Trump's underballs. But yeah, I just it's very sad to see that those three in particular, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, and Lindsey Graham, who were once opponents, who called Donald Trump what he was. Ted Cruz called him a narcissist. Marco Rubio called him a con man. Lindsey Graham said if we elect him, it'll be the destruction of the Republican Party and we'll regret it. Here we are.
There's a comment here from Greg Edmond 9939. It says, if they won't speak up about shoes, they won't disagree with Trump
True.
about anything. And that is such a poignant
It is.
point to make, because that was ultimately what I was trying to get at, through the chuckles and the laughter, is that, this is a very unfunny matter. Here we are, going headlong into a war that
Yeah.
makes no sense, that has no exit strategy, that has no purpose.
Nope.
It has no legal standing. This is a war. It's not an excursion. It's not a military conflict. It is a war that
Yeah.
we have already, what did we bombed them 3,000, 4,000 times. That's a fucking war, bro.
$2
And
billion
it's not going to
a
be
day.
it's not going to be over today or tomorrow or next week.
No.
This thing is going to go on. This thing, sad to say, I'm sorry to say, I didn't get us into it, but this is not something that we're going to be able to extricate ourselves from quickly or easily. And
No.
I pray that that the damage and loss of our servicemen and women is limited as much as humanly possible. But there absolutely has to be accountability, and that's what these midterms are all about.
Yep.
So just remind yourselves, remind your relatives, your neighbors, everybody, how important this election is. If anybody has a problem with paying more at the pump, paying more for electricity, paying more for your groceries, losing friends or relatives in this unjust, illegal war, make sure your voice is heard and vote against Republicans in the midterms.
Amen to all of that. And at the end of this month, we have the next No Kings rally on March 28th. I'm sure there will be rallies all over this country once again. We're going to be talking more about that in the weeks to come. The Siren Network is going to be doing some special events in advance of it. We're going to be helping the Seneca Project to amplify some of their videos about No Kings, the power, the messaging that these rallies that they deliver, but they also show that we are not just going to roll over and accept what is being done to our country right now. It is incredibly important. They've just been growing in size. So yes, 100% to your point, show up and vote, but also use your voice. I went to a tiny little town nearby where I grew up for the last one, and I was shocked that there were well over 1,000 people there for the last one. So we're going to be talking about that coming up. But yeah, there are lots of things that we can all do to make sure that they know that we're not going to go quietly and we're not just going to roll over and let them abuse us and destroy our democracy. So yes, thank you, Dana. Love and peace to all of you and everybody in the chat. So grateful for all of you guys. We love your comments.
This was
We
a
love
lively
interacting
chat
with
today.
you.
Lively.
It was a lively chat today,
Yeah.
and such a smart and well-informed group that we have out there. I love that. Like, that's important because they want us to disengage. I was listening to Heather Cox Richardson talk today. It was actually her video yesterday where she was talking about how difficult it is to kind of get your footing right now. I'm going to have an essay coming out about that tonight because it is meant to overwhelm us. It's meant to keep us off balance, right? And because there's so much stuff from every angle going on at every given moment that it feels like dispiriting. That's when we need to find each other. I found that Heather Cox Richardson video on YouTube. I was driving today, listened to that on the ride. I always recommend her. But Brooklyn, these conversations and this interaction with people in the chat, this is one of the ways that we can connect with each other and we can fight back and we can stand up. And it is the antidote to the division and the propaganda and the authoritarianism and fascism coming from Donald Trump.
There's a comment here. Trump is taking a mulligan on Iran Gulf War.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I love the word mulligan. Like he went golfing last Sunday after we learned about the day after the dignified transfer of remains. And I often say that he worships every Sunday at Our Lady of the Perpetual Mulligan. It's either that or Our Lady of the Immaculate Back Nine. But it's true. Like, that's another thing they've co-opted is that he's religious when he's not. He's anything but. He's the embodiment of the 7 deadly sins rolled into one senile septuagenarian sack of shit. But
indeed,
we are grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for you, Majid. What do you got going on this week?
Hmm.
Do you have a
I
new
don't
show
know.
out? Do you have a show last night?
Wait, I had a show last night with Dr. John Gartner of Shrinking Trump fame. I don't know if you ever watched Shrinking
Oh,
Trump. It was a great show on YouTube. It was two psychiatrists who were basically John Gardner was previously Duty to Warn, that
of course.
profile
Yeah.
on Twitter, and so they spent every week delving into Donald Trump's dementia and identifying all the different symptoms and proof of his deterioration. And it was a great discussion with him. For the rest of the week, I don't know. I am just trying to keep my head up and stay alert, right, guys? These are we're laughing and joking, right? But these are some dangerous times right now. So be safe. Keep your loved ones close, hug them, and stay in the fight.
Yeah, and it's okay to not be okay sometimes. Like if you need to kind of tap out or take a second or take a breath or reach out to someone or to pull away for a minute, that's all okay too. Self-care is so important right now.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did and leave this show last week, go to the gym and concuss yourself on a paper towel dispenser. I did
So
do that.
sad.
I went to do some self-care at the gym and ended up in the emergency room with a 3-inch bump on my head because I hit a paper towel dispenser on the corner. And believe it or not, it's still swollen and I'm an idiot. And so, yeah, don't do
Sam,
that.
Sam, do you not have the Family Feud music? Boom, boom, boom,
Mm.
boom.
Oh God, we need that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need it.
It was, that was, well, don't do it. I don't recommend it. But if you do it, actually take a little time. Take a little time and heal and reach out to people who you love and who love you back. And we
Yeah.
love you guys. And I love you, Brooklyn, and I love you, Sam. So we will say goodbye. And thanks to everybody. There's always a lot to get through. We never get it all. You just can't get it
Didn't
all.
we? Didn't we cover everything?
Didn't we almost have it all? Yeah. Didn't we get to every story? I mean, we got through a lot, but I remember I'm on Stephanie Miller tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern.
Tell Mama BDD says hi.
I will. We love our Stephanie Miller. She's a goddess.
She's
so I'll be there
fantastic.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
11 a.m. It's always a good time. Thank you again to everybody. Thanks, Brooklyn. Thanks, Sam. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Stay safe. Stay strong. Stay sane-ish, and stay connected to each other. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brooklyn.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sam.